So let's watch Representative Eric Swalwell mock God. Quote, "We could have called God herself." That is exactly what he said when they interviewed him on fake MSNBC after the fake Trump impeachment sham, the fake sham, the show trial. So this is from Not the Bee. As I said, the title says, watch Rep Swalwell mock God. We could have called God herself. God herself. Every day they just get dumber and dumber. Coming from Eric Swalwell, this shouldn't surprise anybody. Eric Swalwell, the guy that was with Banging Fang Fang, and the guy that farted on MSNBC as well on Chris Matthews. Who could forget that? So Eric Swalwell, he also pushed the Russiagate hoax to the absolute extreme, to the max. Next to Adam Schiff, he was without a doubt the worst Russiagate conspiracy theorist, fake news, lying politician out there. So let's start off with an interview from Nicole Wallace, where she says, check this out, she says, "I thought this was some of the most airtight evidence. They literally put the Constitution up, which is a Republican shtick." I'm going to play this comment from Nicole Wallace and then get to the comment from Eric Swalwell. And this is coming from Nicole Wallace, who was part of the Bush White House. So I guess coming from a person that was part of a White House that pushed the fake Iraq weapons of mass destruction lie. But here she is saying that the evidence was airtight. The evidence was airtight. Fake blue check marks, doctoring dates on tweets, editing videos in order to try to prove your point and push a narrative. But here is Nicole Wallace saying that the evidence is airtight.
And you had in the day before the trial, far-right conservative lawyer Chuck Cooper come out in the pages of the Wall Street Journal debunking the constitutional claim. I thought this was some of the most airtight evidence. They literally put the Constitution up, which is a Republican shtick. That's what Republicans do. The Democrats had the letter of the law on their side. They had the constitutional claim. They had plenty of conservative lawyers, but that seems to be what they're hiding behind today. And I wonder what you make of this. And you had
the Constitution on their side. The Democrats had the Constitution on their side. You can't impeach a president that's already left office. That's not in the Constitution. Not even Supreme Court's Justice Roberts sat in on this show trial. Not even Roberts, who hates Trump. Keep in mind, Roberts despises Trump. He's an anti-Trumper. He's a rhino. Not even Chief Justice Roberts would sit in on this. You had to get Leahy, a guy who a week before all of this went down was saying that Trump was guilty, and he was the one that was being the judge. Tell me, how is that fair? A guy that a week before this, for lack of a better word, trial took place, a week before was saying that Trump is guilty, and then he's put in as the judge of this impeachment sham. Tell me how that is fair. Tell me how that is constitutional. Tell me how there was any due process when you put a man on trial, let's call it that again, trial, without any due process, any investigation, any interviewing of witnesses, any going over the facts. None of it was done. In one day, you decide that he's guilty. But this is coming from Nicole Wallace. Keep in mind, Nicole Wallace, guys, she worked for George W. Bush. She pushed the Iraq WMD lie. You know how many lives that lie killed? You know how many countries that lie destroyed? Was there airtight evidence with Iraq WMDs, Nicole? That was airtight evidence, wasn't it? But she got rewarded with her MSNBC show. So here is Eric Fang Fart Swalwell. This is really good.
You know, the choice was, well, do we chase those people, not knowing what they're going to say, to the courts for years, or do we go forward with a powerful, thundering case that we have, and also knowing that Mitch McConnell was already telling us that he believed the challenge was a jurisdictional one, so we could have called God herself. and the Republicans weren't going to be willing to convict. So we're proud of the case we put forward.
Were there witnesses that would have testified?
So the choice.
We could have called God herself and it would not have blah, blah, blah swayed McConnell. That's coming from Swalwell. We could have called God herself. He's saying this inside of Congress. Remember when that guy said amen and a woman, when he made that speech, amen and a woman, inside of Congress, and it didn't take more than 3-4 days for the incident to happen? So when he mocked God, 3-4 days later, you had this incident happen inside of Congress, and now he's mocking God. Eric Swalwell is mocking God in this. Make no mistake about it. He is mocking God. This is not going to end well. And listen to this, what he says. This is fun.
Do we chase those people, not knowing what they're going to say, to the courts for years, or do we go forward with a powerful, thundering case that we have?
A thundering case. Doctoring evidence is a thundering case. Here's Swalwell. Here's thunder. Here's Swalwell thunder.
It's uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint I've heard from the evidence is
thunderous case.
That the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election.
A thunderous case. What a joker. This is a guy that was sleeping with a Chinese spy. Literally sleeping with a Chinese spy, and gave a job to that Chinese spy's friend. He gave a job to a Chinese spy in his office. This is the guy that they have on TV. This is the guy that California has in the House. What a next show.
Mitch McConnell was already telling us that he believed the challenge was a jurisdictional one. So we could have called God herself, and the Republicans weren't going to be willing to convict. So we're proud of the case we put forward.
We could have called God herself. You're proud of the case you put forward. You doctored evidence. You doctored evidence. In other words, it's okay now to doctor evidence in the United States of America. In any court, any lawyer, any prosecutor, they can doctor evidence now. It's okay to doctor evidence, even if it's just a little bit. It's okay to doctor evidence. You should be proud of the case you put forward. You got busted doctoring evidence. Lying. Oh my God. It's amazing that these guys are representatives in the government of the most powerful country in the world. It's absolutely amazing. And they have them on TV. And it's amazing that you have people like her actually having her own show. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right, guys, that's the video. Let's get to the fake news story of the day. This, of course, comes from Fake News CNN, which says, this was no triumph for Trump. It was written by David Axelrod. Of course, David Axelrod is I think he's like the Clinton and the Obama henchman. He's like one of the high priests of Clinton and Obama. This guy's a Democrat operative. And, well, it should come as no surprise that he's writing this. Senior advisor to Barack Obama. Chief strategist for 2008 and 2012 Obama presidential campaign. That's David Axelrod. So this is what he writes real quick. There was never a doubt that former President Donald Trump would escape conviction in his latest impeachment trial. The jurors were, after all, politicians. The jurors were politicians. What about the judge, Mr. Axelrod? Wasn't the judge, Leahy, a Democrat? A person that a week before this trial was the person that was saying Trump incited violence, and then he ended up being the judge? Don't mention the judge. The jurors were politicians. Okay? The constitutional bar of 67 votes was never achievable, not in these bitterly polarized times. But even as the final chapter was known from the start, it was essential that the story of Trump's brazen acts be told. It was the story of the months, not just the moment, of calculated incitement, of Trump's cold-blooded indifference to the lives he put in jeopardy at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, including, most shockingly, that of his faithful Vice President Mike Pence. What about the lives of the Trump supporters? The one life that we do know, that we saw on video of a Trump supporter. Has that been investigated? Have they looked into that? that killing? Have they looked into why this person, this Trump supporter, she was trying to go through a window and they shot her in cold blood? What about her? What about making up the fake reasons why some people lost their lives in this event, where they doctored that? And I'm talking about that police officer, where CNN deliberately doctored evidence to make it seem like this person had died after the event, when in fact we now know that this person died a day after, a whole day after the event. No investigation, nothing was done. To this day, we still don't have an investigation, guys. No investigation into any of this. Into any of this. Think about that for a second. They're saying there was incitement, insurrection, blah, blah, blah. We haven't had an investigation. What does that tell you? Anyway, guys, that's the video. That's the fake news for the day. PayPal, Patreon, subscribe, start Bitcoin. Hit that like, guys, on the way out. Hit that like for this video. We've been completely demonetized, so your like really helps out a lot. And go to the Duran, where we post our main videos. You'll find the link down below. Look for Alexander's channel. You'll find the link down below for that as well. And go to the Duran shop. Pick up a USA Magic mug at the Duran shop. Take care.